All right, 10:42, time for a little lights, camera, McCarthy. And Kevin, you are talking to the person that everybody wants to be talking to right now.
Right. And so this was a really interesting thing, how this all came about. So obviously, we're going to be doing part one of my interview with Jada Pinkett Smith. So what happened with this was, originally I reached out to her publicist because Jada's going to be here on Thursday doing a book tour here at the Howard Theater, and tickets are available. We'll give you information about that at the end of the interview. And so originally, I thought we were going to do the interview maybe this week, right? And then so last week we were talking back and forth, and we booked it for Wednesday at like 2:30 in the afternoon. Wednesday happened to be the day, October 11th, that bombshell dropped in the news about her and Will Smith being separated for 7 years. So I wake up that morning because I got in the book the night before, and I was reading through the book, and all those things that came out that next morning I had already read about, but I couldn't talk about yet. And then all of a sudden, I wake up to the news, and then bam, I have an interview with Jada Pinkett Smith on this day. So this is really interesting. So this is part one. Now listen, I know everybody out there's a lot of chatter online. People are, saying they're tired of hearing about this, tired of hearing about that. We do talk about the Will and Jada separation, of course. That is part of the interview, and we're going to have more on that in part two. But I also wanted to get her to open up about other aspects of her life. There's some really cool information here about Tupac, her favorite Tupac songs. She opens up about depression, how that's been healing for her. And also this quote about how can a woman be irrelevant and culpable at the same time, which is a quote from her book. And she talks all about the Oscar slap and things like that. So here's part one of my interview with Jada Pinkett Smith. Try to listen to this with an open mind. Her new book, Worthy, is available today, and I really enjoyed this conversation. Take a look. Obviously, talking to you today is interesting, considering all the news that came out this morning, and it's all over social media about the separation and elements like that, and being separated for 7 years. But what's fascinating to me is to talk to you on this day that came out. Now that the world is learning that information and talking about it, emotionally, is there a catharsis that you feel about that, a certain healing that you feel that it's kind of out there now? Because you talk about appearance versus reality a bit, obviously, in the book, and this concept of like what we see and what's really going on. I'm just curious, is there a weight lifted off of you to get that out there?
It's coming, it's slowly coming. I feel like it's still just part of the story, and, just this new journey that Will and I are on together, in this transformation. And so I think right now it's just a lot of shock of like, what the hell?
That was literally a reaction I got from someone in the newsroom. They're like, wait, is that real? How is that possible? It's been 7 years. How do people not know that? I wanted to ask you, the section in the book about Tupac, I mean, there's a lot of that in the book, and I think it's incredible the way you write him. I have to tell you, it was the first time I ever really viewed him as a human being. And I say that because there's a legendary, iconic status around him as an artist, and I've always just viewed him as one of the greatest artists of all time. And I never really stopped to think about the person, the human, the person that you met in Baltimore. And I think about that journey and kind of what he went on. You gave me a really interesting insight into him. I was just curious, is there a song of his that means more to you now than it did when it came out? Because songs stay the same, but we change as people and the journeys that we go on. You're laughing, but is there one that...
I mean, that's a good question. That's a good question. Okay, so do you know his album, Tupacalypse Now?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right, so there's a song on there that I love called The Soldier's Story. That's one of them. The second one would be Shed So Many Tears.
Why are those different to you now than they were when you first heard them?
Right, because when Tupacalypse Now first came out, it was like, I mean, of course, I was like, it was just, to this day, Tupacalypse Now is one of my favorite albums of his, right? But I was just such a rebel, we were just loud, young, and boisterous, you know what I'm saying? So listen to A Soldier's Story now, I'm like, yo, I wonder if this particular song was based on, the Soledad brother, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh man, so I'm just listening to it differently, right? And then Shed So Many Tears, that's always been one of my favorite songs of Pac, but when I listen to it now, I can just feel into certain places that he would talk about with me when we were younger, that now being a mature woman and now having a son his age.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And just like the amount of pressure, just everything that he was dealing with emotionally at that time. And just being like, wow, you know, even young then, not really getting the all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I think about it now, I'm just like, woo, it's a heavy song.
There's a quote that I wanted to bring up. I think it's one of the more powerful quotes in the book. You say, how is it that a woman can be irrelevant and culpable at the same time? And that's obvious. I think it's in the chapter about the Oscars and the slap and everything. And that line in particular, you say it's a riddle. Can you expand a little bit on that line in particular and maybe the context of that?
Right. I was speaking about, the moment where okay, well, let me talk about it in general terms that, women are considered to be, the not as important, right? But yet when a man does something unsavory, all of the sudden she has all the power in the world to make this happen. And I'm just like, that's a riddle. I'm trying to figure out how that can even be.
There's something that I thought was so interesting about, like when I was reading the books about depression, because I've dealt with it all my life, been on different medications all my life, and had depression, anxiety. I've been on every SSRI you could imagine. When I hear you talk about it, and in the book, it goes into a lot greater detail. I won't spoil anything, but there's an element about a cliff that really, I remember reading about that. I was like, oh my gosh, just like the way when you were driving. And I wanted to talk to you about opening up about that and kind of going back to my first question about the idea of putting things out there in the world and how they help heal you. Do you find therapy and catharsis in revealing that?
For me personally, I'm just hoping that it gives some oxygen to a person that's in a helpless place, like I had been at that time, right? If I had been able to hear a story like that, it might have, it would have given me that air that I needed for a few more months, a few more weeks. It's probably something I would have read over and over again to give me hope that I would have a way out of this dark space. It would have continued to give me the willingness to keep trying and to not feel alone. And so what makes me feel good about it is that I know that there will be people out there who might be in this dark space that will feel like they're not alone. And I'm hoping, like, if it can just help one person that's in that space get out of that space, then that's everything. It's such a lonely place to be. And a lot of times when we're there, we really feel like we're the only ones. And I just wanted to make it known, you're not the only one.
All right, that's Jada Pinkett Smith. That's part one of our conversation. That interview took place the day the news broke about the separation between her and Will. If you're just tuning in, I did ask her about with the weight lifted off of her, whether or not that was something she felt, and she talked about this is still a journey. On part two of our interview, I just straight up asked her, flat out, like, where is the line in terms of what you put out there in the world and what you keep secret? Because I said to her, I was like, with your kids, they're going to be reading all these news pieces that come out about you. Where do you draw that line? And we'll have that answer for you on Thursday, plus more from Jada about this book, more about Tupac, more about more. And her event, I want to mention the Howard Theater. That's called Jada Pinkett Worthy Book Tour. It's at 7 o'clock this Thursday. Tickets are still available. Again, the Howard Theater. We also talked more about her being from Baltimore. She talks a lot about her love of D.C., why D.C. was a second home for her. So all that's coming up on Thursday. Wow. So, and I know everyone's heard a lot about the Will Smith thing, and there will be more of that in the interview. But it was just nice to hear her open about different subjects, in my opinion. So
part two Thursday.
Part two Thursday.
Got it.
Thank you guys.
Yes, did you ask her why they kept it secret that they were separated for 6 years?
I'm trying to remember if she answered that in the interview.
Okay,
yeah,
we'll hear more Thursday.
Oh, no, she
it's
kept
riveting.
it secret because of appearances versus reality, in my opinion. It was the concept of, like, she would show up at events. Maybe there's this concept of also not telling the world about it. But I guess at this point, there's a book coming out, so you can talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, we'll have more coming up Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good stuff. Thank you.